Hi Soul Family, how are you guys doing?
Hello, everyone.
This is super spontaneous, super spontaneous. In fact, the most spontaneous video we've ever made for YouTube. We've been getting crazy channelings in the last couple of days. And I also want to say to you, I just want to share very vulnerably with you that I'm not feeling my best right now. I usually never make videos when I'm not feeling like my 100%. And today is a day when I'm defying my own set of rules. So what I had to do was just remind myself that I'm speaking to my soul family. I'm going through some physical pain. I'm processing like a light fever. I don't usually feel this way. And so Siman and I have been getting so many downloads that he says, hey, why let it go till tomorrow or day after when the energy is so fresh? Let's get on the camera and just record. We're talking to soul family anyway. So thank you for that nudge. I feel better already.
Sometimes we just have to push forward.
Yeah. So the last couple of days, Siman and I were having a very real conversation with our guides, and we're like, what the hell's going on? Like, why is this being allowed to go on for so long? 2020, I get it, was a year of massive awakening. We get that it was all about disclosure. It was all about exposing everything that's going on, talking about the children, talking about the British government. Like, I have to choose my words carefully because we've received a few warnings on YouTube for the things we've said. So yeah, like last year was all about disclosure, and for those who had the eyes to see it and the stomachs to digest it, so many of you joined our channel at that time when we were talking about some real stuff. Now 2021, we've been shown, both of us have been shown, is going to be crazier in every way than 2020. It's going to be crazier, it's going to be more chaotic, all for a good reason, but we've been shown that. Many psychics around the world have been shown that. But we're in April right now, April 4th, 2021. And I said to my guides in Siman, we've been talking to them, we've been talking to the Galactic Federation and saying, what the fuck is going on? Seriously, like, I said, you know what? I've given up on timelines, I've given up on dates, and I'm done. Like, don't give me dates. I don't even want to talk about dates. So a very specific channeling came through for that, which I'll tell you in a second. But did you want to add something before I go into that?
Yeah, we've just been feeling like we're living in this phantom world, in this disconnected world that's not even real. It literally feels like we're living in this science. I was telling you the other day, like we're living in a science fiction or in this
simulation,
in this suspense thriller, but the movie's never ending, and I'm like. Dude, I'm just walking out of the theater at this point because I don't care. I want to move on with my own life. This movie's getting old and it's been going on for a while now, and we just need to get on with our lives. So that was the basis of our frustration, and I know a lot of people are in the same boat as us. Like literally, we're all feeling like, when is this going to end? Like, oh my God, let's move forward. And our guides gave us some very loving, very supportive, and very encouraging messages. And we're going to shed light on that in this video.
So let's start with what came in early this morning. As soon as I walked in, I was shown a very clear analogy of how the higher realms view the situation on Earth. And it actually was quite eye-opening, even though it sounds so simple. It was very eye-opening. So what they showed me, they showed it to me in my third eye. They showed me that when we look at Earth from the higher realms, this is what we see. We see 4 buckets, 4 groups, 4 timelines. And I'm like, okay, keep going. So they showed me a vision. It was a visual channeling. They said, let's talk about Earth right now. You guys are all caught up in the story. You're all caught up in the illusion. You're right. You're the ground crew. You're in the planet with the veil of separation. So let us shed some light on what we from the higher realms see when we look into Earth. They said we see 4 groups right now. The first group they showed me is the asleep population. Okay, that's a huge chunk. Let's say we have 8 billion people. The asleep population is a huge chunk. They said 6.57 billion. Let's just say 6.5 billion. And they said these guys are in a state. So what the higher realms want us to see or reflect on is the state of mind that these 4 groups are in. So the asleep population is in a very zombie state. They're a state of, their consciousness level won't permit them. It won't even permit them to ask questions. It won't even permit them to defy the system. It won't even permit them to say, this doesn't even make any sense. Like seriously, when I sit down in a restaurant, I can take off this, and then when I walk out, I have to put it on. Like these are very, very basic things for you guys, right? But these guys don't even have the consciousness. It's not their fault. They're not even on. Their DNA is turned off. They're not even on yet. So my guides were saying, these guys are vibrating fear, panic. Tell me what you need me to do and I'll do it. So completely control me mentality. A lot of people use the word sheep, which I personally have never used to call someone sheep because that is very derogatory. But think about sheep not from a derogatory way, but think about it more in terms of, think of it like a master would. Unconditionally loving master that does not really have any triggers, but is looking at a herd consciousness, a herd mentality of tell me what to do and I'll do it so that my life gets easier, even though I know that I'm walking into my own death sentence, even though I know that I'm being controlled, even though I know that something doesn't feel right, but I just want to live in herd mentality. Okay, so that's the first group, 6.5 billion people.
And these are the people who are going to say, I want the jab so I can get back to my life.
Exactly.
They're not going to question what's in it, whether it's good for them, whether it's good for their children. They literally might be poisoning their own children and just not care enough to do the research.
And they don't even have the consciousness. That's what I was shown. Like, it's not like they don't have the care. Care comes after. It's a higher vibration, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't even have the capacity. And we have been in that state, like, to some extent. Remember a long time ago when SARS came on? Like, I remember I never wore a mask because I wasn't caught into it, but you shared with me.
I did.
Yeah.
I was one of the so-called sheep in that case, and I have complete compassion and sympathy for such people because honestly, like when you're continually like programmed for a very long time and you've been so subdued with external programming, it's very difficult to differentiate reality from non-reality.
And I want to add, baby, that you wore a mask and I didn't, not because of what you guys might be thinking. I didn't wear it because I was so asleep that I didn't even have the consciousness to say, is there a life-threatening illness or do I even care?
Yeah.
He wore it mainly because he thought, okay, he was kind of awake. I was completely
No,
asleep.
at that time I was completely asleep.
But
I
did
was
you do
not
it for
awake.
health reasons?
I did it because I believed in the narrative.
Right, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I believed
very...
that was going to affect my health, and so I did it.
So we've all been there.
Yeah.
The second group that I was shown is the controllers, those who are trying service to self. They are controlling others. They're trying to show everyone that they are in control, even though they're not. And this is very interesting. This is actually so interesting how the guides showed me this. These guys are what? Less than 1 million, less than 1 million of the population, not even 1 million I was shown. And these guys are also in panic mode like never before because we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about the main hub, their main energy source in the higher realms, in the 4D realms, they've been cut off from their own power source. So right now, I've given this analogy before, they're working like an octopus without a head. So each tentacle is doing whatever it wants to do, but there's no head giving them the commanding instructions. There's no operating system giving them the programming instructions.
So another way of saying it is that they still are rolling out plans, but there's 10 different versions of the plan that they're rolling out. They don't have any central authority figure left anymore because that was taken out about a decade or so ago.
And they realize they're looking like fools. They realize that they're making a mockery of themselves. If you go to many of their Instagram pages, you'll see they can't keep up with deleting the stuff. They can't keep up.
They're basically, it's like they have to use brute force in order to control the remaining masses or what's left of it. So they're trying to salvage what's left of the population so they can continue with their ascension or descension timeline.
They can continue with their, I don't want to say the words, but new world is in order. New world is in order.
Screw that idea.
Anyway, so they can continue with that. So this is what the guys showed me. The first group which we talked about, the completely asleep people, are in what? Fear, panic, completely zombie state. Tell me what to do. Now the second group, which is this group I just talked about, less than 1 million people, I was shown they're also in the same state. So when you look from the higher realms, they're also in fear and panic. of losing control, losing power. Now they showed me the third group, which is the Starseeds, the awakened population. Now awakened is a very loosely used term, just like sheep. Awakened is a very loosely used term. Awakening is in many stages. If someone's awake, just to understand, okay, this is all happening, this is the first step. There's so many layers in front. It's like an onion. It's almost like a never-ending onion, but it does end. Because, I mean, we see in our real life that we've been taking off so many layers, and we do see a different reality, but I'll get to that next.
And one of my favorite comedians on social media, his name is JP Sears, and he made a very powerful post about this. He's like, there's woke, and then there's awake. And woke people are the ones like the spiritual community that we've experienced in Toronto. They're like victim mentality. They think they're like spiritual, but they completely project blame on outside circumstances.
They dress
they
a
won't
certain
take
way.
responsibility for their own actions. They think that by blaming others, it gives them power, but they don't realize that they're disempowering themselves by blaming society, by blaming others, but by blaming their jobs or their circumstances.
Victim consciousness.
Yeah, so
Totally.
they're completely in this downward spiral, but they act spiritual. So this is the category of people that are going to constantly look for news updates or constantly check YouTube to see, oh my God, when's somebody going to come and save us? When's some external event going to occur that's going to get us out of this shithole that we're in?
And more importantly, you know what I was shown a few days ago? They're the ones who will watch YouTube channels like ours and put the dislike button instead of accepting that, hey, we are your students. So that basically it's the ego consciousness. So that's not woke. Just because you do yoga, you're not woke. So, yeah, and then what did JP Sears says? There's
yeah,
woke,
he said
and
there's woke and then there's awake. And he was saying that awakened people are the ones who really are like self-aware. They don't project blame outside. They take responsibility for their actions. And his post was going more towards, we need to teach our children, we need to teach our next generation how to be awakened rather than being woke. Because just by acting spiritual, you don't really make a difference. You don't make a positive difference in your own life or in the world.
In fact, the most awakened people I know, including ourselves, I have to add, I always like to throw ourselves in the mix because I'm one who never gave myself credit for anything. So my guides have always said, include yourselves in the mix. Give yourself credit for how far you've come. The most awakened people don't even look spiritual. They don't need to prove anything. They don't need to act a certain way. Don't need to dress a certain way. They don't need to pretend a certain way. They are spiritual. They don't need to do yoga or grow long hair like men with long hair. There's no image.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they showed me how this, where were we? The awakened ones, right? These are the people. Now, my guides were showing me the awakened ones as 1 to 1.5 billion people in this container, okay? I thought it was 1 billion, but apparently it's gone up a bit in 2020. I was shown more like 1 to maybe 1/4 billion, but who cares about the numbers? Now these guys, this group is still vibrating 4D consciousness. And what my guides showed me is that many spiritual teachers are falling into this trap of focusing so much on politics, focusing so much on everything they taught in 2020, and now they're trying to prove that they weren't wrong, or that is still, they've gone into a lower timeline. Now there's no judgment on this. This might be their soul contract. Like some spiritual teachers may literally have a soul contract to focus on the politics, focus on that news, which doesn't appeal to us at all because it lowers our vibration instantly. But they may have a soul contract. But I was shown that this group is in a constant state of when is it going to happen? When is that going to happen? Oh my God, it's always a state of waiting. It's a trap state of waiting for something to happen. And I wrote down a few things which I'm going to read. It's waiting. It's the energy of frustration, a lot of frustration. The energy of, oh my God, I feel so bad for this person who had to get the jab. So it's this energy of judgment. And my guide said to me that just because you're awake and someone else is getting a shot, it doesn't mean you're better than them. What it means is that you have a soul contract and they have a soul contract. Both of you are playing out your soul contracts, one of being asleep and one of being awake. So there's no judgment. So by you, and this is something it's a very deep teaching. Human love is very conditional, and human love is very attached, it's full of drama, it's full of do this for me, and it's very messy. Like when you get out of that and you move into the vibration of unconditional love and you start vibrating more 5D frequencies, you can't stand this human love concept of, like, it's very messy. We'll make another video one day about unconditional love and conditional love, but human love is very messy about, oh my God, why did you do this? It's so bad for you. You shouldn't have done this. Let me sit and worry about you. Let me sit and worry the hell out of you. Masters, how would a master act?
They would not care about how others behave, because that would be giving our power away. Masters would only focus on their own lives. And to be very fair, we've gone through all the stages of awakening ourselves. So I went from wearing a mask before I was awakened, and in the initial stages of our awakening, I realized even until last year, we were like following the Q narrative. We were also pegging our hope and expectations on external circumstances, or this political leader or that political leader should win or should not win, and they'll save the world. But then as we kept on raising our vibration, we kept on morphing and going into higher levels of consciousness. And as you go into a higher level of consciousness, you realize that you are the only one who's going to save you. This time around, there's not going to be a world savior like Jesus Christ. The return of Christ that was mentioned in the Bible is the return of the Christed consciousness within us. And until we awaken this Christed consciousness within us, we won't realize that we're the only key holders, we're the only masters, we're the only way showers. We're not waiting for any guru, any spiritual teacher, or anyone to come and tell us do this and don't do this, or thou shalt not kill and thou shalt be good to your neighbor. All that's like things of the past. These were all infiltrated teachings that were meant to control us in very cunning and conniving ways. By giving us an external rule book, they control us through religions. But now we're realizing, as we awaken the consciousness within us, that we hold all the keys, we hold all the answers. We don't need to look outside for the answers, and we just need to focus on our own well-being, and we need to take charge of our own creation, because we are very powerful beings. So that's basically what it boils down to.
And also this group that we have been describing is vibrating 4D consciousness because of their choices. By worrying about your neighbors, that's a very 4D consciousness. And I know a lot of you may be shocked to hear this, but a lot of you who've been following us for a year know we've always taught this. Our guides taught us this right from the very get-go. Just by constantly worrying about the world and worrying about, it's a savior template, and it's a very low vibration. It's a 4D consciousness of, I have to make a video.
Even worrying about your children, like, you can't even have that kind of mentality. You have to know that all of us are free will souls, and that if your children or if your spouse or if your parents choose a different path than you that doesn't agree with your belief system, then so be it. We have to detach at a level where we're no longer controlling, or we're no longer placing expectations on anyone else other than ourselves.
I love that. And you know what I just received right now? I'm still receiving it. I'm receiving that, okay, they're saying this is why Siman and you had to feel low vibration in the last few days and say, oh my God, what the hell's going on? Because, they're saying we had to understand what the collective is feeling right now. So we were feeling the collective. I was just shown, and that is why we got these downloads to be able to make this message, to be able to relate to what is happening in the world.
Exactly.
It's very interesting.
That makes a lot of sense.
So I really want to spend a little bit more time on this bucket before I move on to the other. We've talked about 3 buckets so far.
Why don't you go in more detail on 4D versus 5D as well?
We'll segue into that. That's very important. And let's take our time with this one, because this is important. So this 4D group, where a lot of the light workers are, I'm talking about, if there's 1.5 billion awakened souls, let's pretend all 1.5 billion or 1.499 billion of these people are in this bucket, because they're vibrating 4D consciousness at some level. Because you have to go through the 4D training before you can anchor the 5D training. And we've gone through our 4D training, which is why we really feel like we can teach you guys the 4D traps. 4D training is great, but there are also a lot of traps. Savior mentality. Where are you trying to save someone else? Where are you driving yourself nuts trying to save someone else? Because in that time, What else could you be doing? You could be raising your frequency as a master, and in raising your frequency and feeling better about your life, making the changes that you need, instead of sitting at home and saying, I don't know when Nisara is going to hit because I don't have any money and I'm not sure when the med beds will come. Instead of having that victim consciousness mentality, and I know I'm speaking to a lot of you, but know that I'm speaking with love. I love you guys unconditionally. You have to snap out of that state, because that state is keeping you in 4D. 4D is all about waiting for someone, waiting for the Galactic Federation to come save us. All these beings of light, all these councils of light are here to help. They're helping in invisible ways that you can't even see, you don't even know. But you hold the key to get out of it, and look at us as an example. We have used our own internal keys to get out of our misery, get out of our 3D jobs, get out of our 3D horrible marriages, get out of our religious conditioning, religious programming. We have literally walked the path of mastery, and we still are. And I'm telling you this.
And it's not a walk in the park.
It's not a walk in the park, but it's so rewarding. It is so rewarding. We have been fierce, courageous, like a lot of bravery is required, and trusting the divine plan. How we sold my business. My business was a $1.5 million business, and that was like giving us the luxurious lifestyle that we love. When the guidance came in 2017, I think, to sell it, we could have easily gone down, oh my God, like how are we going to give away this golden hen? He was in a 15-year career in IT. And I remember when Yeshua channeled through me in a meditation, I was hosting a meditation for 200 people, and he was meditating. I remember I was channeling Isis, and he got the message from Yeshua directly saying, it was a Friday. He said, Siman, are you ready to step into your ascension?
And I said, fuck yes.
No, you said, no, he said, are you ready to? And are you ready to get rid of your job? And you said, I guess. And then what did he say?
Yeah, he said, I guess is not a yes. Is it a yes or a fuck yes? And yes, Ascended Masters also swear, because in my experience, that's been the case. And I said, well, fuck yes.
This was
So
on
I
a
went
Friday
straight
night
into it.
in a group, in an event we were hosting. Guys, Monday morning, this is what happened. What happened on Monday morning?
Monday morning, so Friday I
We
got
weren't
this
planning on
message,
any of this.
and on Monday I got
Called in your
I got
bosses.
called in by my boss into the office, and she told me right then and there that she gave me my 2 weeks notice, and she said the contract's ending, we're restructuring, all that blah blah blah, and I'm like, whoa, like
He was
this is
actually
a-
freaking out, because he's like, oh my goodness.
on the one hand, I was like, okay, that was like crazy, that how I got the channeling and now this is happening. And on the other hand, I'm like, fuck, I just lost my job. Like, what
I
am I
got
going to tell
fired.
EldoRa? She'll be so upset. And that night when I came home and I told her, baby, my contract's
He had
ending.
this really
I don't know
sulky
what to
face, like
do.
so ashamed of himself.
I need
He's
to
like,
go
baby,
start my
sit
job
down.
search.
I lost my job. So fucking embarrassed of himself.
And she said, baby, we got to break out the champagne.
And we did.
Yeah, that's been our most positive factor. Like every time life deals us a supposed blow, we see what's the lining behind the cloud, like the silver lining on the cloud. And we've always taken the best out of each situation and used it as a stepping stone to create something even better. That's why we never take anything. Like our car crashed and we saw the bigger picture. We saw the bigger meaning of that. It's not an accident. It's building towards something better. So
Like anything that happens in our life. So that
Yeah.
night we actually booked the Shangri-La, which is our favorite hotel in Toronto. We booked a beautiful suite. We ordered champagne. We ordered wine in the room. And we celebrated. We played music. It was an amazing night. We celebrated finally being free from a 3D job. I still had my business at that time.
Yeah.
But a year later, we got the guidance to sell the business. We sold it. And literally our guide said, if you trust the divine plan, and I know many of you watching are in that phase where you want to get rid of your 3D jobs, and if you're still in it, this is something that's coming through right now. If you're still in your 3D job, don't feel like you're doing something wrong. The guides are literally saying to me, tell them, because many of you apparently in this bracket, where you're learning certain lessons from your 3D job that you need to learn before you can leave. So tune into the vibration of, okay, is this soul contract between me and my job, has it ended? You'll know. If it's ended, it means you're not learning anything, you're just frustrated, you're not moving forward, you're not getting wisdom, you're not getting pearls of experience. Or it could be that you're getting a lot of experience because you're learning how to deal with the narcissistic boss, you're learning how to stand in your power, you're learning how to set your boundaries, you're learning how to go back to your house and speak to your partner and say, I am still in this job because I choose to be. Like, it's all mastery. So look at what mastery, this is really coming in right now. So where were we going with this?
Yeah, so basically...
So if you're leaving your 3D job, because I was going somewhere with this. Oh, yes. So if you're... this happens all the time. What were we talking about? So anyway, like if you're... what were we talking about, guys? The 3D job. Anyway, it'll come back. So if you're in right now, oh yes, I got it. When we had to let go of sell my business and we got guidance, we said, let's fucking do it. And I'm telling you, the stories that we shared with those who came to our retreat on how we sold my business against all odds, we'll make a separate video just about our magical stories. I've been meaning to make a video literally called all the magic we've experienced in our lives since we awoke to now, like in Costa Rica. It's magical. We can write a book about it. And we haven't really shared these things with you. We've shared it with the retreat folks. Our business sold against all odds for much higher than we were asking for. It was so aligned because we trusted the divine plan. And the divine plan said, you let go of this, we'll catch you with something way bigger. We'll catch you. The universe will catch you. So it's about 4D consciousness moving up to 5D is all about you trusting and surrendering and having the faith to take the leap of faith. Yeah. If not, you're just in 4D consciousness, just repeating your stagnant behavior, just waiting, saying, I don't know, when is it going to be new earth? When are there going to be med beds? Unfortunately, the guidance coming in is that's just not happening. You are the key to your happiness.
Our guides are also reminding us that this is a very important stage in the ascension. This is a major step of the ascension where you take the leap of faith. So if you constantly wait for the next steps to be shown to you, you're not going to move forward.
Yes.
There's many of the people who are in the 4D consciousness right now need to know that this is your time to take the jump. This is your time to take the leap of faith. And it really has to be a blind faith. And trust me, I've seen this time after time. I've seen it time and time again, that when people trust the universe, when they have their intentions set on what they want to create in their life, the universe inevitably catches them. And it never
fails. It never disappoints.
Yeah, it doesn't disappoint you. It doesn't abandon you. There will be times where you'll go through like you'll have to face all your fears, you'll have to face all your shadows, but the more you go into faith and surrender, the more new doors and new opportunities will line up for you. So just take that leap of faith and just be clear about where you're going. Set your intentions with the universe about what kind of life you want to create, and let go of all the anchors that are holding you back. It could be your job, it could be like your family members that are still like holding you back or trying to influence you in negative ways or keeping you small. It could be a relationship. It could be anything that's holding you back, anything that's keeping you small, anything that's making you not focus on your own needs and focusing on others' needs.
Yes.
You need to let that go and trust that people will fall out of your life. People will deviate from your path.
That's
because
so
your path
important.
may not be the same path as others.
Exactly.
So don't hold back. This is your individual path.
And you know, it's so important what he said about human beings. We hold on to old friends, and you know what we did? People hate us for it, but who cares if someone hated us? Who the fuck cares? I don't give a shit if you guys like me or not. I am here in service to you, for those of you who get it. You know what you just said about human beings holding on? That is one of the biggest traps. Holding on to friends that you far surpassed in consciousness. If you're constantly holding on to these eggs and you've turned into a daffodil, literally, I'm just making this up, you've turned into a daffodil and you're still holding on to these eggs, the consciousness of eggs and the consciousness of daffodils just don't match. They just don't. I get all my channeling like in pictures, which is why sometimes my examples are out there. That's really what I'm being shown. It's only when you drop the eggs that you'll suddenly start meeting other daffodils. And then when you become fully anchored in being a daffodil, you'll then start attracting something totally different, and you'll raise. It's always an upward journey. What is ascension? It's upward. Many of you are descending instead of ascending. It's so important. So human love is attached, like holding on. We look at every relationship in our life as, is this soul contract feeling alive? Like, is there a mutual exchange? This is very important. Is there a mutual exchange in this relationship? Are we constantly learning from each other? Or has it long expired? And do I feel like crap when I revisit these people or revisit these timelines? The soul contract, if it's done, cut it. Let it go with love. No judgment, love. I'm doing me right now. I'm taking time off to do me right now. I love you. I send you love. And if it makes it any easier, block on WhatsApp, block on text. That's not spiritual bypassing. It's only bypassing if you have a lesson coming in and you're avoiding it. This is you standing in your power and saying, you know what, even though I've said to this person that I don't want to be disturbed for the next year, but this person doesn't get it because they're not awakened maybe and they don't have boundaries. So what I'm going to do is I'll take my own power back and I'll block them, and they don't even need to know I've blocked them. But I will send them a message before doing so saying, hey, I love you. I've had great times with you, but right now I'm going off on my own solo path. And so I'm unavailable for the next year. How many of you can do that? Because we have done that. We've done that with our parents. We've done that with our friends that no longer served us. We've literally, I feel like we have, you need to have balls on this.
Yeah, our
you need
guides
to
are
have
saying
balls.
you can't expect things to change in your life unless you change things in your life. You are the one who has to make changes. So in other words, you can't keep doing the same things, repeating the same old patterns, talking to the same old people that keep you in a low vibrational state, or keep feeding the same egoic addictions that are not serving you well, or food addictions. You could be having substance addictions or porn addiction, whatever it is that's keeping you in a low state.
Yes.
Break out of it. Ascension is all about letting go. It's all about letting go of what's not vibrating, and it's about rising higher. So in order to ascend, you have to let go of your anchors, of your weights.
Anchors, your 3D tethers. Literally take a pen and a book and write down what are all your 3D tethers. We had to let go of all the junk in our lives. Because think about it. If you're vibrating, because this is a very graphic example, I'm just going to give, this makes no logical sense, but I'm just going to give this so the example, this teaching really, really resonates, okay? Let's say you're vibrating at 8. I'm just making this up. You're vibrating at 8, which is some formula. But your old friends are vibrating at 3, okay? Just bear with me for a second. Now 8 is not really compatible with 3. 3 is not compatible with 8. 8 gets 3. 8 can see 3's shortcomings. 8 can see that 3 is asleep. 8 can see that 3 is in victim consciousness, because the higher you go, you can look down and read all the spectrums below you, okay? And this is, don't feel this is judgmental to, this is not unity conscious, it's a fact.
Yeah.
So when, like, we can read anyone who is, who hasn't yet, like anyone who is lower consciousness than us, we can read them like a book, so can you. Now, if 8 doesn't let go of 3, instead, if 8 makes their whole life about teaching 3, your whole life is about teaching 3, don't get the shot, don't do this, oh my God. 3 is not even a vibrational match to your teachings. 3 is not, 3 is going to think that you're a nut job. Instead, if you let go lovingly of 3, all of a sudden you'll start attracting more 7, 8, 9s that are more now a vibrational match to where you are. So now you're, instead of trying to be a savior to someone, I'm so glad we're going deep on this, because this is so freaking important, and you'll know why when I tie up the whole channeling. So instead, you're letting go of all the 3s and the 4s and the 5s and the 6s. You know, when I was going through my awakening, I always said, I want to meet the fucking 10s. When I was a 7, I wanted to meet the 10s. And right now, I still say to the universe, bring me people that are at my vibration or higher. It hasn't happened for a while, because as you go higher and higher and higher, there are less people in that. It gets very lonely.
Yeah.
But that's the path of awakening. It's the path of ascension. It gets lonely, but
then again, you don't need anyone else.
Exactly.
You're more self-sufficient.
Exactly. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. It's not like you're craving humans anymore. It gets lonely because you've not met people vibrating at your frequency. right?
Exactly.
It's like you've not met your peeps, you've not met your friends that you can hang out with and, like enjoy your lifestyle and your kind of conversations. So it's always an uphill, it's always like an upward, ascension is going upward.
And it's an individual journey. It's not your job to teach others. It's not your job to bring others up to your level. The way you do that is by being an example,
Yes.
by living your own life, by creating the life that you desire. And then other people that truly want to learn, they're not the threes, they're like
birds
the
are going
5,
crazy.
6, 7s. They're the 5, 6, 7s that are looking at you going up. And they're like, fuck, I want to be there. I want to do what this person
That
doing.
is your service.
That's how you.
Yes.
That's how you create the change. It's not by going out and preaching or going out and publicly demonstrating what you don't believe in and what you do believe in. It's not about that. It's about creating the life of your own joy, so that others who really want to follow in the same footsteps, they're the ones who are going to seek you out. You're not even going to have to look for people who are trying to awaken and you need to teach them. People are going to seek you out and say, how did you do that? I want to learn from you.
And a very, very relevant and fitting example here is when we lived in Toronto, we had the same teachings. We weren't vibrating where we are right now, not at all. But we still had a level of wisdom, a level of teachings that came through. And I can tell you, sometimes we would make such beautiful posts and it would get 3 likes because we were teaching to the wrong audience. If we had stayed in that audience, if we had continued to immerse ourselves in that audience who only reflected to us how terrible we were, how unappreciated, they were just unappreciated. Like we'd throw a fabulous event and in the retreat till today, people say to us, oh my God, our lives are changed. But back in the day in Toronto, which was our training period, we would do so much and work our asses off. And there was no appreciation sent back at us because we had to get solid in why we're doing it. It's all about intention. We're not doing it for praise. We're not doing it for appreciation. We're doing it because this is what we believe in. This is what we're here to do. We didn't know it was our training. We just kept going at it. And one day the training was over. And our guide said, now you're ready. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
Now you're ready. Start a YouTube channel. And our YouTube channel went from 0 to 25,000 in 3 months. How can that happen by fluke? It's not a fluke. When you're ready, the training wheels come off, you guys.
And that reminds me of a very important point, that every single thing that you're experiencing right now is part of your training for your 5D life. Because if you're going through struggles, if you're going through adversity and hardships in life, no matter what it is, give it every ounce of appreciation that you have, because this is your training ground. This is what's going to teach you all the lessons, and this is going to reflect to you all the things that you need to master before you can raise your consciousness to meet 5D reality. So you can't just jump from 4D to 5D overnight. I mean, you can, but it's going to take a shitload of lessons in one night. So be patient with yourself, be patient with others around you, and always remember that it's always about coming back to kindness, compassion, love, humility, and just letting go of things that are holding you back, letting go of control, and keep bringing it back to what do I need to learn in these situations, and treating these as pearls of wisdom that are going to catapult you into your butterfly stage.
And guys, it's also very important that you get back to neutrality. In case you're wondering what those are, at this time, every day, are they parrots?
I have no idea.
They look like parrots. There's like a whole, 500, 600 of them come by this time, just before sunset. And they play like children play in the park. It's so beautiful. So get back to neutrality, because what I have noticed in anyone that has a high vibration through my journey, and now we're like that, so I have seen the path. When 2-3 years ago, we'd be giving everyone healings, even if they didn't deserve it, if they didn't have any gratitude for us. We were very attached. As you get to be a master, you come off as a bit aloof, you come off as a bit uncaring, but that is mastery, because you're in your unconditional love to yourself and to the other person. You're not like in this human love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unconditional love doesn't go and try to jump at saving everyone. They just model the master behavior,
Yes.
and whatever needs to occur. They realize that there's a pearl of wisdom, there's a teaching in everything. Even sometimes allowing someone to go through their suffering is the best thing you can do for them.
In the retreat, everybody's breakthroughs, most people had the breakthrough because we were in our mastery. We weren't saying, hey honey, like, we weren't playing through their stories. So for example, let's say somebody wanted a lot of time with us. We did the opposite. We said, okay, these people have, there was only 1 or 2 people like that. They have needy energy, and there's no judgment. We've all been needy. Needy energy comes from insecurity. It means from needing others' validation. It means you're just still in your journey. There's no judgment. So when we saw needy energy, we did the opposite. We ignored the fuck out of them until on day 5, they got it. All their shit came up. They started going into negativity, saying, hey, we've come here and you're not giving us any time. And we said, we're not here to give you one-on-one time. We're not here to party with you. We're not here to go for dinner with you. We are here to be your fucking teachers. And they got it. They're like, oh, they were moved to humility. So model the behavior. I'm giving you guys, we're both giving you guys such multi-dimensional teachings here. Mastery is aloof, but unconditionally loving. Like think about Buddha. He wouldn't be running behind everybody saying, hey, let me help you, let me save you. Think about Jesus.
Let me teach you how to be enlightened.
Yeah. Buddha sat there.
He just is. He just exemplifies the enlightenment.
He exudes it.
And he exudes it. And all the real seekers, all the ones who actually want to make a difference in their lives, they seek the Buddha.
Yes.
And they get the teaching in the deepest core of their heart. That's why so many people around Buddha were able to ascend.
Exactly. So when you raise your vibration, rather than running behind others to save them, like when you're an 8 and you're running behind the 3s, instead you forget about the 3s and you start raising your vibration, all of a sudden you, in the quantum field, the people that are ready to connect with you are already there. The people who are ready to be a vibrational match to you right now are already in the quantum field. Our friends, because right now we don't really have any friends, our friends at our vibration, whether they are awakened or not, it doesn't matter, but we imagine our friends as people with very pure hearts, with this excitement to learn about spirituality, or they might be spiritual people themselves, but it's like a cohesive relationship where they may teach us about, some business tricks, we may teach them about spirituality, but we uplift each other and there's an ease around us. They're not needy, we're not needy, they're not thinking, oh my God, we need more friends to fill up our life. We're not, there's no, what's that word? Codependency, because we can't stand that. We could 2 years ago, we were so codependent. We needed friends to fulfill us. But when you start anchoring more 5D frequencies, you start becoming more aloof. You almost become like a snob, and that's sexy as fuck. So to any of you who are in that vibration, I can't wait to meet you guys, because we have said to the universe, we don't want friends until they are of our vibration or higher, because that's what is appealing to us. Otherwise, we're just with people who are taking from us, learning from us, and it doesn't fulfill our soul. All right, so I think we covered a lot, but let's go back to the channeling. Now, we talked about 3 buckets. The first bucket was the zombie in a state of fear, panic, tell me what to do and I'll do it, I'll comply. So fear and panic. Second was the cabal. Also fear, panic of losing control. Okay, so now we've got how many? 6.5 billion plus 1 million all in panic. Now, my guides showed me this morning, this big group of awakened, like you guys, the 4D, many of you are also in a state of panic, frustration, control, lower vibration. When is this going to end? When are the med beds going to come? And they're saying that is what needs to shift.
To be very blunt, that is what's holding this ascension in a standstill.
Yes.
So if it seems like why is the world like hitting a brick wall, it's because 1 billion or however many light workers are currently in this 4D bucket. They're in the lower 4D of expectation, of an external savior,
yes,
of something external, like the Galactic Federation has to decloak their ships, or Trump has to come back in power, or this has to happen,
or the
or
med
that
beds
has
have
to
to
happen.
come, or Nosara has to happen.
Yeah, I need to get a paycheck because I can't support myself in my 3D job anymore. So you are forgetting that you are the master.
You are the key.
You're not here to wait for somebody else to save you. You are here to create the path for humanity and show them how to save ourselves. And we can only show them, not in theory, we can only show them by creating that reality for ourselves in our own lives. So our main focus, and that's what our guides are saying is the crux of this channeling, our main focus right now for the Ascension is for each and every light worker to wake up. So really get the depth of what I just said.
Yeah.
You're still asleep, light worker. You're still asleep, you're still vibrating in a lower consciousness. Just because you are aware enough not to get the jab, just because you're aware enough not to wear the mask
Or
sometimes,
you're a healer.
Whatever it is.
Or you're a psychic.
If you are waiting for some outside circumstance to come and change your life for the better, then you're giving your power away still, and you're becoming a block to your own ascension and for the mass consciousness ascension.
That is so
and that's
fucking deep.
only going to we're only going to move forward with this ascension when all of us, not one of us, not two of us, when all of us make the collective decision that we've had enough. We're gonna disconnect from this 3D matrix. We're not gonna feed this old system anymore. When we see something that doesn't resonate with us, we're gonna stand in power with our fierce warrior voices, and we're gonna say, I am not okay with this. Many light workers believe something, but they behave something completely different. Like they'll see injustice happening, but they'll be too shy or too feeble to voice their own opinions. When all of us start roaring like lions, there's no force on this in this universe that can stop us. And that's what our ascended masters and all the galactics around the earth, they're like literally stationed around earth. They're watching things unfold, but they're not allowed to help us. Why would they? They haven't.
Actually, it's not even that they're not allowed. It's their unconditional love. This is so deep.
Exactly.
I'm loving how deep this is going. Their unconditional, so Galactic Federation, let's just take as an example. Their unconditional love for us is so deep that if they interfere, because okay, this is so freaking deep. We are on Earth, right? So I'm on Earth, you're on Earth, he's on Earth. So we're allowed to influence each other this way. Like I can share everything that I have uncovered in my earthly journey. I can share this with you. The galactics, the angels, the archangels are not on Earth. So they have a different entry point. They have a different, what's that word? They have a different spectrum. Let's just say spectrum. The laws of the universe don't allow different spectrums. I love where this is going. To influence each other's free wills. I'm going to repeat that. If the Galactic Federation was on Earth, was an energetic vibrational match to Earth and its vibration, if humans were all vibrating at a point where the Galactic Federation could come into our ship, they would be at the same spectrum entry point. Okay? They could then influence us, teach us, and all of that. That's waiting to happen. But for that, humans need to meet these guys at the spectrum where that entry point opens up, and I'm fully channeling because I don't know this stuff with my conscious mind, and then the two spectrums meet. So right now, by what we are doing, what Siman and I are doing is we're giving you all the codes that we uncovered in our life.
And we're still uncovering.
But I can honestly tell you, since we left Toronto, and I've been wanting to make a video about that very soon because our life in Costa Rica is a whole teaching in itself. Since we left Toronto and we came here, we are in a different dimension. We're not fully anchored with our 5D light bodies yet, no, but we are in the energy, and this is my fourth bucket which I want to talk about. So first three buckets are all vibrating panic, fear, worry, focusing on politics, and bullshit. Like literally, a few days ago we watched 25 different YouTube channels to see is there someone out there. There was probably one, but like literally we looked and every vibration was like, what are these guys talking about?
And after watching them, we were in such a low were in such a low frequency.
We were like, what is this
we
nonsense?
had to like do something to lift up our vibration.
Because seriously,
it's
and
not
that's
helping anyone.
It's not helping, and we do that once in 6 months. We check out what's going on, and I don't care who it is. Like a lot of people are focusing on the wrong things. I'm not talking about everyone, of course, but I'm just talking about a lot of people. Like the two that I like are Phil Good and Lori Ladd. I literally feel, especially Phil Good, I feel like his teachings are on the same vibration as us. So if you haven't checked him out, please do. His name is Phil, Phil, Good, Good. He's someone that I think really has some good teachings, but literally everybody else is just redundant. They're saying the same old shit that doesn't really make sense anymore.
And
Anyway.
not only that, but I wanted to say that some YouTube channels are consciously infiltrated by the cabal or some dark energies.
Yes,
And they're
yes.
trying to position themselves as light workers, but they're actually making you feel like crap. So if you feel like crap after listening to someone's messages, know that there may be some negative infiltration.
And they could be saying a lot of words. Like
They could be channeling Archangel Michael.
like Tony, that bird Robin, for example, right? That, you know, that bird Robin, whose father's name is Tony? Like, a lot of people are promoting the jab, but they're teaching spiritual stuff. So this is happening even in YouTube channels. So you really have to use discernment on how you feel. But going back to that bucket, now there is this very small bucket. This is the fourth timeline of people. We feel truly that we're in that bucket. When I asked my guides how many people on earth, I thought it was 1,000 people, because I haven't met really people like that. And he said, our guide said, well, it's about let's say 100,000. These are the people who are in their mastery. They are not sitting and whining about how hard life is, even though like sometimes we wake up and we're like, get us out of here. But we get out of it right away. This morning I woke up singing, take me back to the stars. And he's like, oh gosh, you're in that mood. I was like, I can't do this.
I was in that mood the other day.
So we go through it, but we snap out of it. We snap out of it right away. And that 100,000 people, that fourth timeline, we are in our mastery. We're creating, we're hosting retreats, sold out retreats in like a lockdown. We're working on what can we do? How can we serve the world? How can we serve? How can we be in service? Because we've done all the inner work, most of the inner work. So now we're in service. We're creating projects. We're thinking of how can we bring light workers together? What kind of seminars can we do? What else can we do? We're in that bracket where we're the masters. That earth, now the big 4D bucket needs to shift into this. We need more people in this fourth bucket, guys.
Yeah, and that's really the main difference between 4D and 5D. 4D is still duality consciousness, and 5D is unity consciousness. And people really need to grasp this concept at a very deep level, because when you're in 4D, you're looking out for a savior, you're looking for someone to change the world, you're looking for Jesus' second coming or whatever have you, but you're looking outside, and that's still duality consciousness. So the majority of light workers, and I'm going to repeat this message over and over until people really grasp this and ground this. The majority of light workers, the billion who are awake, are not currently assisting the ascension because they're still in a low frequency state. And they're kind of being led in the same bucket as the unawakened 3D people, because the cabal are so conniving. They're so I would say they're actually genius. They're
because they have the
ahead of their
reptilian
time, because they're not only controlling the sleeping masses, they're also controlling the 4D masses by creating expectation, by constantly making you focus on this has to happen and then you will ascend, or some future dates. You're always looking to the future for something to happen. So you're still in the trap and you're not aiding the ascension if you are still waiting for outside circumstances to change something for you. So when you really grasp this concept and go into unity consciousness, meaning everything you need is within you. You are one and you are the all. I am that I am. That is unity consciousness. Then you really realize that you are the master, and even in small ways, you can make a difference in your own life. Even if you have no money, even if you have no job, no friends, you can start by smiling at others. You can start by giving free hugs. You can start by feeding the birds. You can start by creating a new business opportunity that you had never dreamed of. You can start by taking free courses that are available online. You could be like a child in India with a broken laptop that somebody lent you, and you can still ascend. Ascension does not mean you have to have a lot of resources or you have to have hi-fi gurus teaching you. You just have to have that spark within that knows that no matter what circumstances come my way, I can rise and I can learn and take each and every step of life, take everything that life throws at you and use it as a stepping ladder. It's always a choice. How you color your experiences is a choice. One person can fall off a horse and say, oh my God, I fell, I broke my leg, and now what? And another person can say, oh my God, I fell, I broke my leg, maybe life's trying to teach me something. Maybe my higher self wants me to pause and say, which direction are you really going into? So it's always a choice. You have the free will to color your choices with either the color of ascension, of rainbows, of new earth, of hope, or just going back into your old rut of complaining and wanting someone to save you. So that's really going from 4D to 5D, and that's the most important thing we need to achieve right now, folks.
And you know, guys, for the 100,000 that I was shown is in this frequency, we're truly living our heaven on earth. We're not waiting for anything. We are having so much fun. It's just the two of us, but life is so exciting. We don't give our energy in any place that does not feel fulfilling. Yes, we're surrounded by 3D because we're still going through our 3D training of learning how to use our mastery in dealing with people who are completely in 3D consciousness. If we were masters of that, we wouldn't have those lessons. So we're still around people who say, can you wear the mask to go those 2 steps? Because right now we're in San Jose, which is a very dense city in Costa Rica. On the beach, nobody cares about these things. But we're still learning, and we're saying, okay, what can we do in our mastery? How do we treat the people around us? How do we speak to the people around us? So we're constantly in a state of training. And I'm telling you, if I had mastered, and if he had mastered all these lessons, we would be in 5D. So we're constantly up-leveling, and life right now for us is heaven on earth. I truly think we have the most exciting life on the planet between the 7 or 8 billion souls on this planet. I always say to Siman, I said, I don't know who else has a life that feels so good, enriching, fulfilling, powerful, walking their dream with their soulmate, with their twin flame. And this life is waiting for all of you. You will be extracted. This is coming to me right now. The word extracted, and they're showing me. Just like we were extracted out of our Toronto reality and placed in a higher timeline when we did the work, they're literally showing me that you too will be extracted by your team of higher self, your guides, when you open the door with your key. They can't put their key, they can't open the door for you. You are the only one who has the key, but once you put it in and you turn it, you're going to be extracted into a higher timeline. And I'm not speaking hypothetically. I know what I'm saying because it has happened to us.
The law of vibration works perfectly, and when you just make your single-minded focus in life to keep your vibration higher and higher and higher, your reality has no choice but to shift. And that has been proven in our lives, and we've seen it proven in so many people's lives. So that's your single-pointed focus. Raise your frequency, raise your vibration. Always choose love, always choose compassion, always choose to be kind to others. When you give, you receive. Whatever you put out, it comes back to you
tenfold. But baby,
tenfold.
that is something that I think a lot of light workers misunderstand. They're too kind to people. So for example, in our retreat group, somebody said, oh, 2 people or 1 person quit the group. And I said to them, the law of vibration is at work, or like whatever. Think of it more in this is supposed to happen. Or like these 5 people are not coming to our next, whatever. Instead of judging it, controlling it, and saying we will force these 5 people to come with us, which is very, very 4D, that 4D bucket.
That's the savior template.
The savior template, you say, okay, perfect. Who am I to interfere? They are exercising their free will and they are masters. So when they are ready, and maybe we're not ready, like who knows? Instead of controlling and analyzing everything, let go of control. I look at everything as the law of vibration is at work.
Yeah.
Even when we did the retreat, we said we want only the people who are meant to be there to be there. We don't want anybody who is going to come and complain and whine and bitch. And there were a couple people who paid the deposit and they couldn't come, and now we see why. Because in their emails, they're opening up PayPal disputes, saying they were cheated even after we refunded them 50%, whatever. Like, I'm just saying. We took a small admin fee and refunded them everything else. And
as per our agreements.
Actually, no. Our agreement was it was non-refundable.
Oh, actually, that's true.
So we, out of the goodness of our heart, we said, we don't want your money. We'll just take an admin fee and we'll return the rest. And we did. But that admin fee, the small admin fee, they're disputing with PayPal for that. And we're like, thank God these guys did not make it to our retreat. And next retreat, we're literally going to put in the thing. If you come in and bitch and gossip and lower the vibration of the group, we're not an energetic match and you will be transported to the airport right away.
Yeah.
That is mastery, not trying to be friendly and give everyone hugs and saying.
You have to have a balance of love, power, and wisdom.
But have love for yourself
Yeah.
first. This is such a deep teaching, and that's why I had to stop you, because so many people are giving hugs and
Yeah, it's
giving
not
love.
what it's all about. It's not about trying to save everyone with your love and kindness. It's about knowing when to step in and knowing when to let someone go through their lessons.
Yes. All right. I think it's a wrap.
Yeah, I think so.
Amazing. We have a lot more things, but we'll talk about it in another video. I don't know how long this one's gone, but all right. I'm glad we made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wasn't even in a frame of mind to make this video, and it just happened.
See, you're glad I pushed you, right?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. He's like, let's make this. I'm like, oh, fuck that. I'm not going to make it. He's like, trust me, let's do it. So yeah, I feel better. So anyway, guys, we love you, and do comment. That's another thing. We love hearing from you because that keeps it relatable to us. Let us know what helped. Even if you have to make 10 comments to let us know all the things that helped, it gives us feedback, and it's like a flow.
And we want to hear from people who don't usually comment
Yes.
but watch all of our videos. We
Yes.
want to hear from you because
Yes.
we want to know what you gain from these videos and what you love to hear about, because that gives us food for thought.
And you know, honestly, it's how energy works. You don't just sit quietly and take, and don't
Yeah.
even, that is you cutting off your own abundance. Because
Yeah.
energy is always moving. You see something, you like it,
Yeah,
you
that's-
subscribe, you share it, you
that's
comment.
part of the teaching. Like
It's
New Earth is
sharing.
giving,
Yes.
and giving your voice, giving your vote, upvoting everything that you favor and downvoting everything you do not favor. That's how we create the world in small iterations.
Sitting silently is it's like being shown.
That's the days of the past.
Sitting silently and just absorbing all this and saying, oh, we love them, but we're not going to say anything.
We need to
'cause
create a powerful vortex that cannot be stopped.
I love that, because when
Yeah.
you guys pump us up, we are pumped to make even more content. And I'm not even joking. And that's not codependency, but that's us pushing our own limits.
Yeah.
And so
That's the law of exchange.
yes. Okay, guys. Fucking love you guys.
We love you guys. Take care.
Bye.